morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday, November 21st, 2018.
Commissioner Garcia, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Seffi Wiles, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ken Red, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Mike Mullen, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Sandy Jordan, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Art Martinez, Street Services.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. No speaker cards on any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, we'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. We will start with a couple of administrative items. We have a stop payment notice in agenda item number 4. Robertson's is transmitting a stop payment notice in the amount of $1,474.60 for furnishing ready-mix concrete, rock, and or sand materials in connection with the energy, sewer, and storm drain repair at 312 Brownwood Avenue. The primary contractor is Bali Construction. Is there a second to my motion that we receive number 4 forthwith by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 5, also Robertson's, transmitting a stop payment notice in the amount of $23,593.40 for furnishing ready-mix concrete, rock, and or sand materials in connection with the emergency sewer and storm drain repair at 443 South Vermont Avenue. The primary contractor is Bali Construction. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 5 forthwith by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 1, we have bids for one public works project, the 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project, bicycle pedestrian facilities, 6th Street Viaduct Mission Myers Roundabout Project. Dr. Campos, good morning.
Good morning, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. We did receive 5 bids for today's project. Again, this is in Council District number 14. The city has estimated the project to be at $3,052,728 even. This is for the 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project. The first bid received is from PALP Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving, for a total bid amount of $2,329,950 even. That's 2329950 from PALP Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving.
What did you say the estimate was, Dr. Campos?
The estimate is $3,052,728.
Okay, because our sheet
That's
has
the city's. That's the city's estimate.
Okay.
And then the bid that I just received, which is from PALP Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving, is $2,329,950.
The agenda item has a different number and our sheet has a different number on the estimate.
Yeah, I believe there was a motion that the board approved to reduce the estimate, but the estimate that we did receive that I have right now is $3,052,728. That was reduced down. Let me get the new dollar amount for you. Give me 1 second.
So the public notice is wrong on the estimate. On the agenda?
On the agenda, it does state the original amount, the $3,052,728.
Okay, so that's incorrect.
That is incorrect. However, that is the estimate, but it does not change the actual project itself or the bid itself.
Okay, what is the new estimate?
Just give me a few minutes and I'll get that for you.
Okay. Mr. Jordan?
Mr. President, I've been informed that on Wednesday, November 14th, the board adopted a motion to reduce the dollar amount from $3,052,728 down to $1,686,745. That's $1,686,745.
Right, and there was some discussion around that as well. Just while I've got the city attorney here, and we'll share a microphone for a moment. Ted, is there any legal issue with the fact that the bids are the bids, and they're going to be open today, but is there any issue with the fact that the notice for today's agenda had the old estimate and not the new estimate?
No, we should be fine. We've identified the project that we're receiving bids on. City engineer's estimate is really just there as more of a convenience, but not anything that is essential to what we're doing today.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, sir. Hey, Dr. Campos, why don't we start the item again? Let's start over again, and so that the record is whole on the correct revised estimate. Sure. Okay. So agenda item number 1 for the 6th Street Viaduct Replacement Project, bicycle and pedestrian facilities. So go ahead and you can call the estimate, and then we'll start the bid opening again, recognizing that you have one bid on the record already of $2.3 million.
Correct. We'll restart again. This is in Council District number 14. The original city estimate is $3,052,728. That was since revised by this board on November 14th down to $1,686,745 even. The first bid received is from PALP Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving. As indicated before, their bid is $2,329,950 even, again from PALP Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving. The second bid is from Access Pacific Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,631,048.18. That's 1631048.18 from Access Pacific Incorporated. The third bid is from Griffith Company for a total bid amount of $1,933,688 even. That's 1933688 from Griffith Company. The fourth bid is from Axiom Group for a total bid amount of $2,419,609.60. That's 2419609.60 from Axiom Group. For the record, line item number 40, 41, and 42 have been whited out, initialed by the contractor. No line outs on this bid. Again, the amount is $2,419,609.60 from Axiom Group. The fifth and final bid received for this project is from Los Angeles Engineering Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,874,650 even. That's 1874650 from Los Angeles Engineering Incorporated. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for today's agenda, and my apologies for the confusion this morning.
Okay, is there a second to my motion that the bids have been declared open and received forthwith by Commissioner Garcia? Any objection? Without objection, that will be the order on agenda item number 1. Thank you both. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, October 24th, 2018 by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, the meeting minutes are approved. Agenda item number 2. Bureau of Engineering Task Order Solicitation number 46, Council Districts 4 and 13, the Silver Lake Reservoir Stormwater Capture Project. Recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Mars Services Incorporated from the pre-qualified on-call civil engineering services consultants list to provide design and technical support during construction services for the project as stated in task order solicitation number 46 with the budget authority of $927,000, which includes contingency. Mr. Shaw.
Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Street and Stormwater Division. Silver Lake Reservoir Stormwater Capture Project proposes to install stormwater capture systems around Silver Lake and Ivanhoe reservoirs. The project will be completed in 48 months. LADWP has committed 100% of funding for the total project cost of up to $8.13 million. BOE Street and Stormwater Division plans to utilize the services of consultant to provide design and technical support during construction of this project. The use of consultant services becomes necessary because the city staff are assigned to other programmed activities and because of the critical milestones of the project. The city solicited a proposal from all 10 consultants from the pre-qualified on-call civil engineering services consultant list, which was established by the board in December 2008 and will expire in March 2019. Two consultants, Mars Services and Cordova Corporation, submitted the proposals. City staff from BOE, LADWP, and LASAN interviewed both consultants and reviewed their scope of services, schedule, and staff qualifications. Mars Services demonstrated that they have the necessary qualifications and will meet the project deadline. For this task, the consultant has pledged the MBE participation level of 13.1% and WBE participation level of 2.9%. BOE recommendation is that the board authorize city engineer to issue the task to Mars Services from the pre-qualified on-call civil engineering consultant list to provide design and technical support services during construction for Silver Lake Reservoir Stormwater Capture Project with a budget authority of $927,000, which includes contingency. If you have any questions?
Commissioner Davis.
Of each of the administrative units from the city that evaluated the due diligence in this process for Mars, it included sanitation, DWP, and Bureau of Engineering.
That's correct.
And they each agreed that this was the better company to take the contract in terms of their ability to perform the duty. And then I would suspect that perhaps their commitment to business inclusion as well in terms of what we require.
Yes, sir.
They were the better of the two companies.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, Mr. Shaw, well, we didn't get 3 respondents off of the list. We got 2, of which you all selected 1. Any inquiry of any of the others as to why they did not submit a proposal?
I have personally contacted the other 8 and I received 1 formal response, and the response was that although we have the capability and qualification, but we cannot commit to this project because of our existing resources. So that was the resource constraint, and I haven't received any formal response from the other 7 consultants.
Okay, well, thanks for checking, and at least we got the response back. Sometimes, when we don't get 3 of them, I like the oral record to indicate at least some information as to why. And people have other work to do, and the economy is generally pretty good, and Sometimes people are busy or they don't have enough staff to take on another project. Okay. Any other questions? Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Nadir, this is an important project, stormwater capture, and because we're mandated to do this to keep a certain level of water in the decommissioned reservoir. So let me ask a question about specifications. It says that we lose 418 acre-feet per year due to seepage and evaporation, and that the stormwater capture will net 159 acre-feet per year. The delta, the difference, which is 63% still water demand, are we expecting that rain will make up the rest, or how do we? I'm wondering why the specifications weren't for more.
Because up to 159 acre-feet per year, that is what the hydrology of the area gives us. So that is about 37% of the demand. So the DWP still need to come up with other resources like potable water or groundwater, or so it will only partially meet the water demand to maintain the water service level at the two reservoirs.
I understand. So this is a part of a larger combined effort, right? This is 37%. There's still 63% that needs to be put, and because DWP is funding this,
Exactly.
the sponsor of this project, they're going to be taking the leadership to do that as well. But we're delivering the project for them along with Mars. And I asked a question a couple of days ago, and just a clarification if Mars is in fact a minority business enterprise or a women business enterprise, and I think that is correct. So in addition to the 13.1% MEB and the 2.9% WEB, that Mars itself is a minority business, so that's a win-win. So more diversity gets more diversity, basically.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, I agree.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Anything further? Commissioner Jacinto has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Agenda item number 3, Council District 4, reallocation of funding motion, Davies Way, 2044 Davies Way Bulkhead Project. Recommending that the board approve the relocation of the funding as described in the motion for the Davies Way Bulkhead Project at 2044 Davies Way. Mr. Schmidt, hello, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners, Department Representatives, Mr. Jordan, Dr. Campos, Patrick Schmidt, Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. I'm here to present the updated motion for the Davies Way Bulkhead Project, work order number E1908206. On March 7th, 2018, the Board of Public Works adopted a motion to authorize the execution of a construction order for the Davies Way Bulkhead Project to John S. Meek Company Incorporated in the amount of $686,230 with a not to exceed limit of $758,250. As indicated in the adopted motion, funding was to be provided by Fund Number 59C, Department 94, in the amount of $516,250, and Fund 100, Department 54, in the amount of $242,000 to match the not to exceed limit of $258,250. Since the adoption of the motion, the portion of the funding from Fund 100, Department 54 has been changed. The funding from Fund 100, Department 54, in the amount of $242,000 has been reallocated to Fund Number 59V, Department 50, in the amount of $200,000, and Fund 206, Department 50, in the amount of $42,000. The Bureau of Engineering is requesting that the board authorize and approve the reallocation of the funding to keep this project moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Garcia.
Hi, thank you for your report. I have a quick question. Can you describe to me, or so I can remember well, because it's not in our report, what the bulkhead project is, just in a brief description?
It's Davies Way Bulkhead Project. It's the construction of basically a steel beam with concrete lagging panels to support Key Drive, which is the street up above. It's kind of in a hairpin turn between Davies Way and Key Drive. So we're building the bulkhead to reestablish the support to Key Drive. It'll
What
allow-
council district is that in?
Hold on 1 minute, please.
4.
Council District 4.
Okay. This is the one that is up in a hill, right? And it kind of, okay, now I remember.
One
which
of
one
them,
it is.
yes.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, anything further? Commissioner Sindel's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. I'm sorry, number 4? Number 3?
3.
Let's try, it sounds like an auction. Yeah, it's agenda item number 3, Council District number 4. And we did number 2 a moment ago. But we're on number 3. Okay, so that was a motion from Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Garcia and Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Have a nice holiday. Any issue sending number 3 forthwith? We'll send number 3 forthwith. Is our oral report happening today?
It is. Mr. Untuck should be here in a few minutes.
Because we don't have an agenda item until 10:30 now.
Correct. That's in about 30 seconds. So if you'd like,
Okay.
just give me 30
We'll wait
seconds and
for
we
him,
can
and
start the
we'll-
supplemental item number 7.
Oh, actually, we can get to
Or-
number 7. Let's wait a moment.
Or if you prefer, we can do the oral report. I can bring Mr. Untuck.
No, we'll do number 7 first. We're close to 10:30.
Twenty more seconds. Five more seconds. Okay, Mr. President, you are good to go. It's 10:30.
Okay, agenda item number 7 is on our supplemental agenda. No, I have his. Do you need yours back? Oh, okay. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Hey, Cindy? Did we have... Monday? Okay, let's go to number 7. Policy number 793, Contract Authority Increase of Change Orders, Addenda, Construction Orders, and Task Orders. Recommending that the board first, and this is, we have a proposed amendment for this, supplemental amendment to proposed policy 793, but let me read what's on the agenda. Authorize the city engineer to issue additive and deductive change orders up to $150,000 or up to the contingency limit set for the project, not to exceed 25% of the project costs, whichever is less. Secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue addenda for changes in plans, specifications, or bid proposals during the bid period without prior Board of Public Works approval up to $150,000 or up to the contingency limit set for the project, not to exceed 25% of the project cost, whichever is less. Number 3, adopt the amount set forth in recommendation number 1 as the specific limit on the power the board is authorized to delegate in accordance with section 376 of the new charter for all change orders and addenda issued by the Bureau of Engineering under the board. Number 4, authorize the city engineer to issue construction orders up to $150,000 for all emergency pre-qualified on-call geotechnical structural contractor list super expedited wastewater emergency rehabilitation for sewers and construction services contracts. And number 5, authorize the city engineer to issue task orders up to $150,000 on personal services contracts. What we're actually considering today is supplemental amendments to these. That's what's on the agenda. So we'll go through, and primarily the supplements include, colleagues, as you will see with the highlights and the bold and the star on the supplemental sheet, is each of these 5 recommendations are still here in sum and substance, but they've added directors of the Bureau of Street Lighting, Street Services, and Sanitation to a few of them so that we are consistent across the board. And then on the 5th one, adding also Bureau of Contract Administration to the Inspector of Public Works. So, Mr. Red, we'll start with you, and then we will return to Dr. Campos and see if we can finally resolve this one.
Good morning, Ken Red, Bureau of Engineering. So again, we're here to hopefully get the authority to increase the city engineer's authority and I guess of the other bureau head authority up to $150,000 to issue the construction orders and different contracts, both construction and personal services, and then include the Inspector of Public Works on the authorization for the personal services contract. Simply to bring us up to this limit of $100,000 has been in place for 17 years. The consumer price index has gone up. Now you've got my notes, but I think it was 42.1% or something like that in 17 years. So $50,000 increase is.
Oh, you can have your notes back now. I'll pass them down to you.
I'm good. I think that's close enough.
Okay, you're close.
41.2 instead of 42.1. Okay, but that $50,000 increase is appropriate, and that's all we're asking for. And then the only thing that I would add this morning, because my staff got really concerned as they read the agenda, that there are 2 contracts. If you look at the original document, transmittal number 3 and 4 are actually policies where the city engineer has authority up to $100,000. We're seeking it up to $150,000. But on the emergency sewer and storm drain and also on the emergency geotech contracts, there are policies that the board has approved that give the liaison commissioner, we have to call the liaison commissioner between $150,000 up to $500,000.
But that's been the case.
That is the case. I'm just reiterating that doesn't change.
Right.
So if it's under 150, if this gets approved, then we don't even call him. But 150, between 150 and 500,000 on those 2 contracts only, we still call.
Thank you for the clarification. Yes.
So it's not changing anything.
I'm good on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
My staff was worried about that.
No, understood. But and I think it's worthy of putting that on the record.
Yeah,
Those are in the transmittal of the original board report. So
definitely concur with that recommendation or that clarification. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. The item before you, again, is the city engineer's report to make a series of approvals or requests to increase the dollar amount from $100,000 to $150,000. The request from this board is to have the executive officer, or was to have the executive officer report back on whether the delegation of authority was appropriate in terms of the dollar amount and whether it should be delegated to these specific items. Again, these are change orders, construction orders, any addendums that are being released for bids, plan specifications, or bid proposals. In addition to that, task order solicitations, or what we call task orders on pre-qualified, on-call, pre-approved personal services contract. I'll say that one more time, pre-qualified, on-call, pre-approved personal services contract. So it's not to let out any new personal services contract, it's simply to authorize work or proceeding on work for contracts that have already been approved by this board. In addition to that, since we last discussed this item 2 days ago, I did reach out to all the bureau heads in terms of the report and any potential modifications from the report and the testimony provided to you 2 days ago. I did receive some feedback from the inspector of Public Works and also the director of sanitation in terms of whether they issue construction work orders or not. In the case of the director of sanitation, he does have construction contracts that this board has authorized in the past, so therefore I'm amending my report to include the director of sanitation for recommendation number 4. In addition to that, I've also added...
Before you move along from that one, Mr. Jordan, you were involved in those discussions a couple of days ago, correct?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Ms.
In terms of sanitation, in terms of prior contracts to this motion?
What
What are you saying? Could you clarify that statement again?
What I'm saying is that this board has authorized and approved construction contracts that have been and are under the jurisdiction or oversight of the director of sanitation, not the city engineer. So therefore, the director of sanitation could be in a position to issue construction orders on those specific contracts, up to $150,000.
As well.
Go ahead.
And last but not least, I did remove the executive officer from recommendation number 5, so therefore the task order solicitations on those pre-qualified on-call, pre-approved personal services contract will only be for the bureau heads.
Okay.
So this board now has 2 options to take action. Three options. The first is to reject both reports. Second option is to adopt the city engineer's report as amended to include the proposed recommendations in my report. Or 3, the board can adopt the executive officer's report to include the city engineer's report as part of the documentation that will be submitted to our plan database.
How about this for a 4th option?
Or a 4th.
And maybe the 4th option is the same as your 2nd option, but it's how my brain is thinking. Let me ask, Ken, regarding the supplemental to proposed policy number 793, this is the executive officer's report, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. That seems to be comprehensive to us, to me, for what we're doing, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so is Bureau of Engineering okay with this?
we are okay with that.
Okay. Mr. Jordan, are you okay with this? The executive officer's report as being all-inclusive of what's being asked here?
Yes.
Ms. Mowry? Okay, for sanitation? Okay, anybody else? Okay. And Dr. Campos, this was the report, this was written in the way that that we had requested on Monday, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, so rather than adopting 2 reports, even though I thought initially that's what I wanted to do, I think the better thing would be just to adopt the revised it says November 20th, 2018 revised supplemental to proposed policy number 793 as the action for today. Does that get us where we're trying to go?
It definitely will. The only thing I would ask is to add a transmittal number 2 to page number 1 of the report to include the city engineer's original report so that it's
so it's part of the record?
Part of the record,
Yes,
exactly.
I would agree with that. One moment. One more point that I want to make for the record. When everybody's, let me just let them finish so we have our city attorney. It's in there. It's right here. It's in the new one. He went ahead and Here you go, Davis. Mr. Jordan, do we have an issue? Are we good?
No, I think we're okay. We were just trying to make sure we understood on the executive officer's supplemental to proposed policy exactly what is meant by recommendation number 3, which reads concur with recommendation number 3.
Well, it means concur with, my understanding is that's a concurrence with recommendation number 3 from the original city attorney, from the original city engineer's report. Is that correct, Dr. Campos?
That is correct. If the
Okay.
board would like to simplify or make it clear, we can replace recommendation number 3 with the city engineer's actual
Language.
recommendation of number 3, so that way the
Okay,
executive
why don't we-
officer's report would be
So why don't we do that?
all-inclusive.
So that means we're amending now the supplemental amendment,
Correct.
okay? But I don't want to haul this back in here for another vote. So we're gonna trust you, Dr. Campos, to just super copy, as we used to say back in the word processing days. Super copy that recommendation number 3 to your final document on this. The oral record will be clear on this.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Dr. Red, are you okay over there?
I didn't know I was a doctor, but yes, I am okay
Yes,
with
you're
that.
good. You're good. Okay. Well, for today's purposes, you are. I would just only mention, for the record, that the executive officer's supplement also, that we're about to vote on my motion, does require the quarterly reporting to the board on items 1, 2, and 5. And does it on 3? Which ones? I don't see it on 4.
1, 2, and 5.
Yeah.
Currently on number 4, the emergency sewer and storm drain the sewers
already
5 is already
reported.
part of it. Cisco already comes.
It already happens, yeah. So 1, 2, 4, and 5, even though it's not written here, but the oral record would be 1, 2, 4, and 5, which we're good with. Okay. So anybody have any further questions or clarifications before I make the motion that we adopt this thing? Okay, that would be my motion as amended today to the executive officer's supplemental amended report, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, that will be the order on today's supplemental number 7. At long last, thank you for the work, everybody, in getting parity and equity among our Public Works members here on these items. Yes, Dr. Campos?
And is this forthwith or hold
Yes.
it on the table?
Yeah, no reason not to do forthwith on this.
Forthwith. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So have we cleared the desk of the voting items?
Voting items, yes, you have.
Okay, we have an oral report today before the Thanksgiving holiday from, and thank you all for your work on that, really everybody, and the teamwork on that. We appreciate it. Oral report today from our Petroleum and Natural Gas Administration and Safety Division with Mr. Intuck.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, and staff. Uduak Joe Intuck, Petroleum Administrator. Come back to you for a quarterly report since August. I do have a handout that's going around with a summary of the topics. But just a reminder, we'll hit our 3-year anniversary this coming, this fiscal year as far as the Office of Petroleum, Natural Gas Administration and Safety was created within the city and then also relocated here in the Board of Public Works. And just have a summary of roles and responsibilities of what we cover, of managing the Petroleum Administration function citywide, being a technical advisor to the mayor, city council, and any department that requests it. We do interagency coordination both internally and externally, negotiating all of our pipeline franchises, both gross receipts and linear footage franchises. We have been doing safety inspections citywide. Also, we are now the central point of contact for the city on oil and gas matters, and going over certain state and federal laws, and then doing community engagement, any requests that come in from neighborhood councils or trade associations, and then dealing with our media requests that come in quite a bit. And there's my favorite graphic of the upstream, midstream, and downstream, so that everyone understands when I throw some lingo out there what I'm talking about. That upstream is the oil field, midstream is pipelines and ships, downstream is the refinery and distribution of fuels. I have a picture on there of Alanco, which in the last quarter has probably been one of the hottest topics and had the most media coverage. They have submitted a couple of plans to the state Division of Oil and Gas of their intention to restart operations. This facility is in CD1, Councilmember Cedillo's district. It's adjacent to the Mount St. Mary's Women's College and LAUSD school and across from residential apartments. This has had probably the most notorious site in the city as far as this is where the EPA, federal EPA inspector got sick. This is where Senator Barbara Boxer protested. This is the site that we had a court injunction on, and they're currently in the process of paying the city $1.25 million to come into compliance for Clean Air, Clean Water Act and public nuisance. And the community has been outraged of the potential reopening. They have still not met compliance with their federal EPA order. They have still not compliant with the injunction of our court order against them. They have still not met the requirements for our fire department, for the fire suppression system permitting, and they still have not met the Division of Oil and Gas and Geothermal Resource requirements to restart. There's probably been 10 media requests on this and 4 or 5 different articles.
Do we know what the issue, are they having financial difficulties? I hate to throw out speculation on that, but that sounds, when you get things piling up like that,
The site has been closed for 4 years. It previously made about 70 barrels a day, which was their main revenue source. The company that operates the site, Alanco, took ownership of the facility as part of a debt transaction that the previous owner, St. James Oil, owed them several millions of dollars that they couldn't pay, and so they did a swap of, here, you take the drill site and operate it. So one of the situations is this is not a typical oil company that operates a site like this. This is a company that came into it through court proceedings. And they have not been able to restart in the last 4 years since they voluntarily shut down prior to an order was going to come out from the EPA requiring them to shut down. So they voluntarily shut down. But that's kind of been one of our hottest topics. We've had bi-weekly interagency coordinating meetings with about 20 different representatives from the U.S. EPA down to the County Public Health Department, Air Quality Management District, reviewing each of the steps, getting compliance. We've gotten a number of complaints of odor and smells coming from the facility from some of the testing that's happened. And so we're trying to make sure that we're giving the most oversight and compliance, that they're following all the different agencies' rules. And we've been hosting them here in our Board of Public Works conference room every 2 weeks. And this is going to continue to be an issue, I think, in the near future of trying to find a resolution. This is a site that's owned by the Catholic Archdiocese, but they have an oil and gas lease agreement with the Alanco company, and several, the mayor's office, the city council's office, my office has all been in conversation just trying to find a common resolution that everyone can be happy with, but we have not reached anything.
Just so the record is clear on this, Mr. Entuck, too, this is in Council District 1. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, southern section of Council District 1. If you go to the next page, go over some quarterly accomplishments that we've gotten done here, kind of break it out by areas. Within the Petroleum Administrator section, finished a report on 4th Avenue, which is in Council District 10. That's on 4th Avenue in Washington. That concluded the zoning hearing, and they issued a determination letter that site is no longer allowed to be used for oil and gas operations going forward. The site is, the wells are abandoned, the site's demoed, the concrete has been removed, and they're in the process of a sales transaction at that location. But that has been a 1.5 year ongoing activity, or zoning hearing that's been going, that's now been resolved, and a final determination letter issued. We have the bi-monthly interagency meetings with Alanco that are ongoing, that we got started actually this past August, and have been going since August on. We did get approximately 45 boxes worth of petroleum administrator records from the CAO's office. Previously, the function was across the bridge, and so
45 boxes?
Yes, and so it's a lot of old lease agreements, reports,
Sure, they
CAO
enjoyed
reports.
boxing that up and sending it over to us.
And they did scan it, so we're in the process of getting copies of what they scanned, digital records, and then trying to go through and inventory what exactly is there. So, and I mean, I went through a little bit, and even the folders that are there don't accurately capture what's in each file. So we're going to have to do some reordering, but it's there's a lot of things I've been looking for. I started to find there that I haven't been able to find in Piper Tech. So I'm happy we got it, but it's a new
Inventory is going to be part of a year-long process.
Yeah, it's a new project.
In our last quarterly report, we talked about staffing in terms of what you needed to perform. Where are we in terms of that since our last?
In the lower right-hand corner of that page, in administrative, we just hired a senior management analyst who will be starting on December 10th, which will be in our franchise administration section, but will help with us office-wide. That goes, we had a management analyst, management assistant, so now it's we have 2 people in that functional area. We also just had another round of interviews with a student professional worker that we hope to be offering. Have someone coming in part-time for the next 9 months to assist with the office. So those 2 staff positions are, we have submitted our budget for this next year. We did not request right now for additional staffing. Probably the most, there's 2 council reports that are forthcoming in this fiscal year that will speak to those items. One is the annual inspections report that's coming, has a component of, we're working with a firm to design the program. We went to City Council in August, and they wanted us to finish designing, do a fee study, and come back with a complete program and staffing needs for them to adopt at the Energy and Environment Committee. So we are in the process working with a consultant to design that. That will speak to, do we need 4 inspectors? Do we need 8 inspectors citywide to go and do annual inspections of every drill site? And what's the cost and what fees would we charge associated to that? So that council report back will probably expand our office somewhat with that annual inspection component. Also, there's another city council report back that was also adopted at Energy and Environment in August. Is about centralizing and modernizing petroleum administration citywide. Part of that is creating new petroleum classifications. We currently do not have any classifications for geologist, petroleum engineer, pipeline safety engineer, that we are working on looking at other cities, making recommendations that will all should be adopted by city council, and then we got to go through the personnel process and create a list to be able to hire folks in the future. But that might be probably 2 years out until we'll be able to go down that pathway.
So you would explore, in fact, if those classifications would be similar to the other engineering classifications within a city structure. Is there anything different and unique about the employment of an engineer in this discipline versus any other subspecialty of engineering?
Yes, this is a specialized area of engineering. There is no undergraduate petroleum engineering programs in California. The only 2 graduate programs are at USC and Stanford. The nearest undergrad program is at Colorado School of Mines in Boulder.
But
Did you say there are no undergraduate petroleum engineering programs in the state of California?
That's correct.
But my question,
You have to go to Oklahoma for that?
Well, Colorado's
Go
closer.
ahead, Commissioner Davis.
New Mexico Mines.
I have lots of
School Mines
PE.
before we hit
I
Oklahoma.
got lots of buddies that were PE majors.
My
Go ahead.
concern would be that the core skills that the person uses, even though the subspecialty is petroleum versus silver or any other form of engineering, that the core skills, in fact, that the person would be using would be as an engineer. So from a personnel perspective, my question would be, then would the pay scale be similar to other engineers within the city structure? I mean, so for example, I think when we look at the Bureau of Engineering and the structure from a personnel perspective, civil engineering, architectural engineering, and the other subspecialty of engineering that you have, there's a kind of common structure in terms of pay, or some of them much more than others.
They are similar, but like a structural engineer gets a little bit more than a civil engineer. At the entry level they don't, but at the full engineer level they do. So and building electrical and building mechanical also get a little bit more than a full civil engineer.
So there is a similarity.
They're similar, but there are some slight differences depending on the subject.
Then with that, I would suspect that you're saying that petroleum engineering just costs a little bit more.
It is the highest paid area of engineering in the country,
But you
yes.
got to go to Oklahoma to get a degree in that.
They do have that in that state, yes.
All right.
So we're increasing the enrollment in Oklahoma. I'll let you proceed.
We might do a recruiting trip out there, maybe. No worries. And continuing on, in pipeline franchises, we had the hearing here before the board. We're at 85% compliance with our risk management of bond and insurance. We did issue some violations, which we're in the process of collecting from some different entities. We did also, at the last Budget and Finance Committee in October, get approval and distribution of funds to do a fee study on all of our pipeline franchises so we can look to increase the rates in our new long-term franchise agreements. We also are working with the CAO's office and have a consultant doing a risk management evaluation of are the insurance and bond levels the correct levels for all the different types of commodities that we have.
Let me just jump in here and thank you, our executive officer and our city attorney, for meeting with some of the organizations that are trying to come into compliance with their franchise agreements and get legal opinions and be able to do the right thing. It takes a while since we're heading all that stuff over, so appreciate your attention and the office's attention and everybody's participation. Thank you.
Thank you. We try to have an open door and open phone call policy that we've been working with almost every one of the 40 industries. 40 operators have their own lobbyists, and so we get between 40 and 80 phone calls and emails from different entities about issues. So we try to do the best we can to accommodate everyone. On the policy front, we are making progress. Wilmington was selected under AB 617 as a targeted community. It's Wilmington, North Long Beach, and Carson, which will be doing air monitoring and community notification. I was selected to be part of the steering committee because we're a land use agency that they wanted to participate. This will go throughout all of 2019. There will be different types of sensors and public reporting of the data. This is really some groundbreaking air monitoring that we've never done before that's coming and paid for through the state and runs through AQMD as the agency who's responsible for operating, but we are part of that. There is a second AB 617 site in Commerce, East LA, that the mayor's office is part of the air monitoring, and that's a different type of non-petroleum air monitoring versus we're looking at refineries and pipelines and drill sites in the Wilmington area with the site that we're participating in. Also, we've had a number of hearings on the hydrofluoric acid rulemaking with AQMD, which I'm on the working group with, that they are going to release their December 7th meeting. They're going to release their draft rule, which will start EIR and socioeconomic study. They'll probably go 3 or 4 months, and the goal is to ratify a new rule by May of 2019 that would impact 2 refineries in Southern California, the Torrance refinery, and then Valero in Wilmington. And so that's ongoing policy.
Uruguay, did you say May of 2019?
Yes.
Oh, that's coming up soon.
We've been working on this for almost 2 years, and this comes out of the 2015 explosion of the facility when ExxonMobil was operating it, and they had a near miss hydrofluoric acid that almost created a vapor cloud that has about a 1.5-mile radius impacted area. We also were selected by the State Air Resource Board to do what's called the SNAP study. It's studies of neighborhoods adjacent to petroleum. South Los Angeles was selected as the first site that will start in January. It'll be 6 months of air testing at the different petroleum sites like Allen Co. and Jefferson and 4th Avenue and Murphy. So we're working with the state in collaboration to really get some of this data. And it's really kind of, again, another cutting-edge air quality study that's not been done in a highly urban area. We did ask letters to the state asking that Los Angeles be selected, so we were very happy to be picked as part of this new study. And this really informs a lot of the questions people have about air quality and urban oil operations. It's never really been studied on a state level, so we're participating in this, and it doesn't cost us anything because it's state funded. And then we're working on implementing AB 1646, which is enhanced emergency notifications from refineries, working with our CUPA. I'm coordinating the CUPAs countywide to say what costs will it take to integrate all of our emergency notification systems. Some of the different agencies have different types of vendors and communication, and we don't all use the best available technology. And so we have a deadline January 1st of 2019 of submitting a plan to the state, and it's probably going to take 2 or 3 years to implement a new emergency notification system countywide. But it's a state bill happening to all counties that have petroleum refineries in the county.
Uduak, on that emergency notification issue, are you in touch with Aram Sahakian at our emergency management department?
EMD is part of this, but not that particular individual, no.
Okay. Yeah, they have, well, I'm sure that Aram has deputies that handle that. But I think I want to, in the next quarter, arrange a meeting with Aram Sahakian and yourself.
Great.
I sit on that board, and things pop in and out of there that make me want to put the two of you together.
Okay, great.
Okay? Yeah.
Happy to do so.
Just with new technologies and things that are happening. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the right time, I think.
Yeah.
There's a list of departments that have requested various items from the city attorney's office to the planning department that provide basically subject matter expert or opinion or help resolve questions on a variety of matters citywide.
Let me ask this, which of these 5 departments, sir, is the most annoying?
Serves the what? Excuse me?
Just kidding, just kidding. I see Mr. Jordan sitting over there turning red.
We work together a lot.
Go ahead. You don't have to answer.
No worries. There's a listing of some of the community engagement items that have been requested to speak on. Most notably, recently, people are very interested in the controller's audit that came out earlier this year on oil and gas drill sites. And so I've joined the controller at the BizFed. They had a leadership luncheon with a speaker at the Leadership LA class. Went to spoke at VICA just this last month to their energy committee of what was in the report and explain and answer questions for folks.
And let me just say something about this too, Uduak. I know that you're really busy and your department's growing over there, but just know that, to the extent, speaking for me, I love it when you are able to get out into the community on these issues. Just know that we support that. And I know that sometimes you get so busy, you have so much work to do that you feel like, I don't have the time to drive over. And the mayor said to me some time ago, years ago, when you talk about learning to balance these jobs, the various neighborhood councils, the community organizations, leaders around the city, they're entitled to see their city officials in their communities. And so when you get those invites, sometimes it's hard to do because you have other work that has to get done. But I just want you to know that we support your community engagement efforts, just want the more that we see that you have the time to do, I think the better, especially since it's a way to educate the community to the work that we're doing.
Thank you. And it's been great to have staff to be able to support and prepare things.
It enables you to get out a little more too.
And cover some things I can't cover because I wish there was 3 of me sometimes, but only 1. We can move ahead to upcoming activities that kind of be on your radar coming in the next quarter. We do have another zoning hearing on the Jefferson drill site. This is a site that's coming out of litigation that we previously did a determination on last October of 2017. This should bring a conclusion to the oil operation of the site. I anticipate there'll be a 3-year closure plan. This is the one adjacent to USC off of Jefferson and kind of Vermont area. The RFP for SoCal Gas pipeline franchise valuation will be coming before you. This comes out of the state Supreme Court case of Jax versus Santa Barbara, making a reasonable determination on the value of our franchise. So our legal interpretation has been that we need to get a valuation done. So that RFP will be coming out to you shortly. We are in negotiations on our long-term franchise agreement and meeting with trade associations and individual vendors. We do have the consultant studies happening on the risk management and the fees to say what is the right levels in 2018, 2019. Some of the fees were set in 1982 time period, so we're looking at making sure we're modernizing and appropriate for current operations. The annual inspections report back will be coming soon. You probably most likely will have the contract coming before you on moving forward on doing the design and fee study of that. The oil well setback health study, the long-awaited study.
Is that the one that the press is so interested in?
Yes. And this is one of learning. When I first started, I put too short of a time horizon on this, and it's become a much larger project. But we've been able in this fiscal year to get funding to support some consultant work to make sure that we can do the best study we can present citywide. So that should be our goal is by the end of the year or January that should be coming out and be presented here to the board. We will be doing our annual billing in January, February for all our current franchisees. We anticipate in May the hydrofluoric acid rulemaking, and then we are working with the mayor's office on the sustainability plan. There'll be a new oil and gas chapter talking about greenhouse gas and what reductions and plans, and talking about the SNAP study and the AQMD studies that really are happening here and not happening anywhere else in the country, all in one place that will help us better understand what is pollution, what mitigations work, what is the health of communities in close proximity to that. And that concludes my report, and happy to take any additional questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, reflecting back upon our accomplishments for the last quarter, what are your feelings about what we've been able to do?
Time is always of the essence. Of what we've not been able to do, I wish we could have gotten some things done a little bit sooner, but it's growing pains. It's getting staff up to speed. While everyone's doing the best job they can, much of this is new information and first time people have ever seen this in their life of what is a PHMSA safety standards and going
So training
through.
is certainly a part of the administrative priorities in your office, correct?
Right. And we've done pipeline safety training with the state fire marshal. We've done pipeline safety training with the federal pipeline hazard material and safety administration, PHMSA. So staff has been able to go to. We've been going to the free trainings. We were able to go to a recycling conference about land recycling related to remediating contaminated sites, which was related to a number of the Jefferson and 4th Avenue sites that are happening, and we have other unremediated sites throughout the city that much of the lingo and the legal rationale behind it have not been staff has not had experience working on. So those training opportunities to help us move forward, but it also takes time away. I get a substantial number of public records requests and media requests, and that takes time printing thousands of pages and going through documents that you don't have time to do work because you're chasing down a year's worth of emails or reports and so forth. So those are some of the challenges that.
We should create a new city department. I come to government talking about going there. Create a new city department called the Public Records Department, and have one department that handles the whole city for all public records connected to ITA, so they have access. So they have access. I'm talking about the new department, the Public Records Department, where they handle all public records requests. They have a connection to ITA so they can access people's emails. They have city attorneys on their own staff that know how to handle, they know every legal argument for PRAs and what you can do, what you don't, how much time, and then boom. None of us have to
I
do
will
it.
say that the identifying of a petroleum administrator is critically important to the life of the city. Collectively, I think we all benefit by having someone to really provide leadership in terms of our interest in the city in particular about oil. But I think equally, when we look at residents, this is one of the few places in the state, in the country, where in fact you might be living under or over rather oil. So that on an individual basis, that would be a wonderful thing, I can imagine, for families who have property where there is oil, and to have an administrator in the city who is the leader in terms of giving us the information, helping to set all of the rules and regulations around how we can realize that benefit on an individual basis is also important. So I think the identification of a petroleum administrator is so important to us in the city of Los Angeles, and hopefully as we continue to get your quarterly reports, there will be a sense of fulfillment about what we're able to accomplish as we perfect that role and get the full benefits of your being here. So thank you so much for this report.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Garcia.
Uduak, thank you for your report. You always do such a great job in keeping us informed and up to date with what your office is doing. I want to touch a little bit, going back to your community engagement situation. I would suggest, and I haven't seen, and maybe you have it and I just haven't seen it, maybe a one-pager of, what your office does, your vision, your goal, and what the purpose of your office is. And I would kind of also, I know it's adding more work to what already you're doing, but I would add also if you can also do it in Spanish so that when you are out there, also Spanish-speaking folks understand what the purpose of your office is, especially for those that are around the surrounding areas of the drill sites. Thank you. That would be my only suggestion.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Uduak, great report. It's always good to see all the different things. You're juggling lots. That's a big scope of work. But I do want to say that the last point, the oil and gas chapter in the city sustainability plan is a big one, right? Because you're updating it. There wasn't a chapter there before. And because oil and gas is such a large part of the environment and factors, and this really to set the department to how do we support you, how do we work together with the mayor's office under the mayor's vision. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out. Please let us know, how we can support you in that effort. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. The oral report will be received. Have a nice Thanksgiving, Uduak. Just a brief announcement before we adjourn. We are not meeting on Friday because it is a city holiday in observance of the Thursday Thanksgiving holiday. So, well, there you go. Davis can go out of town again. Have a have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you on we'll see you. Yeah, it's called the flyaway bus. We'll see you on Monday.